Hello and welcome to our weekly webinar. Today we are going to be doing Help, I'm in Customer Services. So I'm Tammy, I work with the TQ department here, and my co-host as always is Rose. So it's great to have you, Rose. I hope you're well.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, great. So let's get started. This may seem a little bit unusual. Why are we talking about customer services when we are in education or we're teachers? Let's have a look. So in today's agenda, we're going to see how to deal with complaints. So this is what we get when we have customer service, how to handle any feedback we have, whether that's positive or negative, the importance of communication, how we can use ratings to our benefits, how it improves student retention, and we'll also have a Q&A section at the end, as we always do. If you do have any questions or comments that you'd like to share, please use the chat box, and as we go through, Rose will give them to me as we go. Okay, so why do we have customer services? Because education systems, whether they are online or in real life, actually have many different types of customers. Any education system is like any other business. We're providing a service that people, particularly online, will pay for. Or if we're in a real life classroom, we're being paid by other people to provide a service to our students. So who are our customers? Well, there are students, the teachers, parents, stakeholders in the business, people who make up the governors, the governing body of those schools and education systems. And customer service in education particularly refers to the experience that students and stakeholders have when interacting with their school or institution. So why would it be so important to have excellent customer service, to know how to deal with it? Because we're a business, we're providing a service, and if we have poor customer service, then our business will not succeed, and we will not be providing the product really that we have promised to provide for our customers. So we're just like any other business in the sense that we want to give our customers, our students particularly, and parents, the absolute best that we can personally do. So how to deal with complaints effectively? I think one of the most important things we're going to state right from the start is to not go on the defense. We're going to repeat this as we go. What do I mean by that? We will probably deal with complaints at times that maybe are unfair. So a student may complain about our teaching style, or a parent may complain, and we may find that complaint is unjustified. But we will also come across complaints that are justified. So rather than always taking the defense and thinking that we are not ever in the wrong, we need a little bit of humility as teachers. Try not to take it too personally, but remember, don't be defensive. Try and think, what can I learn? How can I deal with this? So we will get complaints because we're all imperfect, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. We can actually use them to help us to improve. But how can we deal with complaints effectively, whether they're justified or whether they're not justified? Let's have a look at some really useful tips. So don't procrastinate. Deal with it as soon as possible. Why? Because complaints don't just go away. And if those are valid complaints, then we need to do something about it. We need to provide that customer service. Genuinely acknowledge the concern. So if somebody comes to you with a complaint, very often it will be a valid complaint, and from their perspective, it will always be a valid complaint. Accept that, acknowledge it. You can even often thank somebody and say, oh, thank you for bringing that to my attention, and deal with it from there, automatically giving a peaceful atmosphere to the situation. Be assertive, know your rules, know what you can and can't do, but never be abrasive. So always stick up for yourself, but in a calm and a professional and appropriate manner. You can really stand your ground about something and still appease the person making that complaint, especially if you genuinely acknowledge that they have a complaint and you are taking that on board and you are listening to what they have to say. This is really important. Document everything that you do. So any communication that's made, whether that's in real life at the classroom doors as your students are coming in the morning, whether it's in a real life classroom when a student makes a complaint during the lesson to you or their parents make a complaint, whether it's some feedback, which we'll look at later, that you get after the lesson, however it occurs, however you find it, keep it, document it, because this is a protection. It protects you, but it also protects your customers, because everybody needs to be safe, and it's the most professional way of dealing with it. And as we've really said, always be professional. So that's the time when you've had a complaint, valid or invalid, and it affects you personally. Maybe you get a bit irritated, even a little bit angry about it. Maintain that professionalism. Take a step back, acknowledge that concern, maybe even go and make a cup of tea if you can, if you're feeling very irritated, something to make you calm down and think, okay, I am a professional. How am I going to deal with my customer? How am I going to make sure that this is put right? So please remember these things. This is for all of us to remember. Act in good faith. So don't say you're going to do something and then don't do it. Don't pretend to acknowledge that there's a problem and then just ignore it, because that's really letting our customers down. We wouldn't want to do that. Remain calm and remain courteous. Always be polite. Again, if there's that time where you need to step back, then just do that so you can maintain that calm and courteous manner. Always show respect for the other person's point of view, particularly when you feel it's an invalid complaint. This is really important. This keeps you a little bit grounded. It protects you, and the other person feels listened to. I'm sure that we've all phoned up call centres or different places and complained and felt that they were not listening to us. How does that make you feel? Not great. So we want to be the opposite, and we want to show respect for whatever somebody is saying to us. Value the differences, don't judge and blame them, and recognise that all parties involved have rights and responsibilities which must be balanced. Okay, so how to handle feedback. I'm sure that most of the time feedback will be really positive and really great, which would be fantastic. But when it's not, we need to know how to handle it. Have that humility to accept that sometimes we may get feedback that we don't really like. It's okay. That's how we learn. That's how we get better. Okay, so this is a good point to remember. As teachers, we are very used to providing feedback for our students, but what about when we are at the receiving end? Let's look at some strategies about how we can deal with feedback. So when we get feedback from students, how can this happen? Well, we can ask them things like, how do you feel about your work on this? So you're asking your students, do you feel like you did well? Did you feel like you understood? Do you feel like your work was a good level? Because that's our responsibility to have got them to that level, and it gives them that chance to say yes or no and how they really feel, if they've understood it, if they've enjoyed it, and so forth. Do they have enough time to complete the work? I'm sure we've all been given those deadlines that were not measurable, not achievable, and stressed us out, and we didn't enjoy it. Well, if we are regularly checking with our students that we're giving them enough time to complete the work, accept that feedback. They may say, actually, no, I could have done with a little bit longer. Well, that's okay. We can take that on board and we can adjust our lessons accordingly. And this is really nice. Ask them if there's anything else that they would like to know. I personally quite like asking a student at the end of a lesson, did you enjoy that? Another good thing is to say, what did you learn today? And they can give you feedback. Take it on board and accept it. And I think you'll probably find that most feedback from students is quite a simple process, and it's really encouraging.
Yes, I just want to add that feedback from your students is a great way to judge your teaching. You know, they are going to be so truthful as students and children are. So they will tell you exactly how they are feeling and, you know, their thoughts towards maybe what you are doing in the class, the material, all that kind of stuff. So regularly asking your students for feedback is always a good idea, no matter if it's negative or positive. You know, you could always use that to improve your teaching, and, you know, maybe new things that you've tried in class that might not have worked so well. So it's always a good idea to be open to feedback, whether it is negative, and it is a tough pill to swallow, but at the end of the day, it's very useful.
Definitely. Really good. Yeah, all of those points are valid. And we do know that there are some students who like to be difficult and who only ever like to give you negative feedback. Well, we can take that on the chin and we can adapt according to what we know our students are being honest about, and if they're trying to be a little bit cheeky. What about feedback from parents? Again, like we said before, making sure everything is documented. So put it down in writing. This is really important, because what we remember from conversations that are verbal, we will generally remember different things than what the other party has remembered. It's very easy to forget things that were said. So a good way is to arrange a meeting if it's in a real life situation, to say, okay, I can't deal with that right now. Can you come in at a different time, or if I can call you, and make sure you're writing notes. However you're going to do it, everything is written down. If it's something that happens during a lesson for an online situation, write it down and immediately make sure that's documented and kept safe. Approach your management or your senior team for help. So if you are working within a school or within an online company, they should have policies in place to protect you and to deal with this situation and to help the customer to be appeased and for that problem to be dealt with properly. Don't keep it to yourself. That policy is there to protect you. So go to your manager. You've not been naughty, you've not done something wrong. Even if the complaint is justified, still go to your manager and say, I need some help, this has happened. You need to be aware that this is going on. They may not necessarily have to be involved, but they can be aware of it. Again, always stay professional, particularly with parents. It's very, very important. Listen and act accordingly. As we said before, act in good faith. If you promise them that you're going to do something and then fail to do it, that would be very poor customer service. How many times have we had that? We've rung up a company. I promise you I'll do this. I promise you that will never happen again. And their promises are empty. We would never want to do that for our parents. We would want to listen, and if we can act, then whatever we do according to what we've said and promised that we're going to do. And this is very important. Know that procedure. Don't make promises for something we are not able to do. If our procedure means that we can't personally do that and we need to pass it on to somebody more senior, then know what to do in that situation. It's never wrong to ask for help. It's never wrong to say, what's our procedure on this? Because there are many procedures that we have to know. So please don't think you have to know them all off by heart. But as long as you know the most important things that you need to do and you regularly remind yourself, then you'll be fine. So what about if it's feedback from co-workers or your management? Again, you may receive negative feedback or feedback which has highlighted areas that you need to work on. So consider these three questions, because this is where you could very easily go on the defense. These are my co-workers, this is my manager, I don't need complaints or negative feedback from these. But rather than going that defense so that you haven't done anything wrong, ask these questions. Who is giving you the feedback? What are they responding to? And why? So by thinking about these things, this is my manager giving it to me. Why are they giving it to me? What was the reason for this feedback in the first place? Okay, is this justified? Yes. Something to always keep in mind is not to always think maybe how something is said, but why it is said. We are sometimes all probably guilty of saying things in a way that maybe isn't as correct as it should be. And maybe that could happen in some negative feedback. And we may not like the way it's been presented, but can we take valid points from it and work on those? It's all about having that humility to see beyond that negative, but actually the positive that we can gain from it.
I think by asking these questions when you are given I wouldn't say negative feedback, but feedback that you might not see as positive, could really help you to kind of decipher, what you're feeling in that moment, and then being able to act accordingly and logically. And I feel by asking these questions, you would come to a conclusion and see that the feedback that you were given is justified, in maybe in a small amount, or it could just be completely true. So I just think that by asking these questions, it's a logical way to go about it, and it will stop that, retaliation and reaction from getting that feedback.
Definitely. Something I find that helps me, if this ever happens, I break it down. So sometimes you could see it and see all these comments that you think, oh, I've done this wrong and this wrong, and it's not necessarily that you've done loads of things wrong. It's just areas that maybe aren't quite right and you need to work on. So rather than taking the whole thing, my go-to is always a cup of tea, as you'll know, but have that time and think, okay, it's okay to feel upset by it. That's normal, that's human, but let's break it down. How bad is this really? Or actually, okay, no, I get that. I did do that. I did talk too much, or maybe I wasn't quite as professional in that moment. Breaking it down into smaller section, it really kind of takes the sting out of it and helps you to see, how are they trying to help me? Okay, how can I? Yeah, it's all about help, or it should be.
And I would also add, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you've got questions, ask them. You are entitled to do that, and just take that moment to process what has been said and then decipher it, work through the information that you've been given, and at the end of it, you'll have a better understanding of what they are possibly giving you feedback on, or why they've said that.
And of course, if you did feel that the feedback you were given was abrasive, you can address that. You also have that right to say, I appreciate what you're saying. However, I found this to be a little abrasive, or I found this to be a little upsetting. That's, so like Rose was saying, that's okay, because maybe that manager or that co-worker hasn't realized that's how they've come across. So it's all like a circle, isn't it? Kind of helping one another. So why do you think, any sort of feedback is beneficial? So I don't know if anybody else thinks about this. What do you think?
Well, I would say that it's beneficial because it gives us insight to our customers. And by customers, I do mean students. In the teaching environment and the teaching world, it's a bit weird to think about, a teacher providing a service, but at the end of the day, you being paid for what you do, and you are providing a service. So it can give you feedback on your service you're providing, which can be extremely beneficial, because at the end of the day, we want our customers to be happy. We want them to come back to our lessons. We want them to possibly extend and buy resources or anything like that. So it's a great way to get insight as to how your customers are feeling about the service you're providing. And also it can be useful to improve your teaching in general. Definitely. If it's good feedback, bad feedback, it's all useful at the end of the day.
It is. And think how you feel yourself. So you may have some feedback that you didn't like, but you improve on it, and the next feedback you get is amazing. So you've improved as a teacher, which means your students are happier, the parents are happier, your co-workers are happier. It's only beneficial. It can only ever be for the good. So let's talk. Why is good communication so important? Let's have a look. So good communication can help you build skills that will build a great relationship between your students, with your parents, and with your colleagues. Okay, so it's really important. I've worked in many different schools, and I've worked with schools with very with excellent communication, and then I've worked in some departments where communication was not good, and it was a constant problem that was going on. And I can tell you there is a big difference. By having that communication with your students, with your parents and your colleagues, you know what's going on. You know if they're happy. That relationship can only get stronger. If you are not listening to their needs and their complaints necessarily, or their concerns, if it's not an outright complaint, then you're not communicating, and maybe you're not communicating what you want from them as well. So again, it all ties together. It reflects positively on the company that you work for. And if you don't work for a company and you're just teaching English online, or you're teaching online or something like this, it reflects positively on you, your own company. So that's really important. So you're working for a company, so you're being paid. So you should have some loyalty to that company, and you should have loyalty to the students that you are providing for. As Rose said, we want our students to come back to our company. We want our company to be successful. It's not just about making money when I say that. I mean successful as in a company that is valued, that is recognized as being very, very good in what it does. And we can all contribute to that by having that good communication. And obviously it keeps our customers happy with what they're receiving. If they're happy, they will keep returning. I was talking about this yesterday with Rose. We all know those companies that are renowned. Almost in my country, there's some companies that are famous for being terrible at customer service. And I personally have experienced that. And it makes you feel as a customer really undervalued, not wanted and not important. Good communication with our customers will stop that happening. We're listening to them, we'll act with what they're saying as much as we can, and we will make them happy, and so they'll keep coming back. But the most important thing, I think, is that we're making them happy. We're providing a service that they're paying for, and they're satisfied with that service. So Rose, maybe you'd like to talk about the next couple of slides.
Yes, so we have some exciting news. We have a 120-hour fully accredited TEFL course by Accreditat, and it's available on all devices. So if you like to do your course on an iPad, on a phone, on a laptop, you can do it. It's fully suitable for that. And at the moment, there's a flash sale happening. So head over to iqtefl.com if you would like to purchase the TEFL course. And we have some CPD courses which are available for pre-order, also on iqtefl.com. So if you are interested in doing those, and I can definitely recommend them. And they're on sale for an amazing price. So if you're interested, please head over to iqtefl.com and you can sign up or buy the TEFL course if you would like to do that. And then, of course, for more webinars and content like this, remember to click subscribe on our YouTube channel and head over to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest for amazing resources for teachers. And if you are still in the process of becoming a teacher, they are just as useful for you. So if you would like to check out any of our resources, please head over to our social media as well.
Thank you. And we'll repeat that at the end just as a little reminder as well. Thank you, Rose. Okay, so moving on, let's look at 5 ways that we can make communication more effective. We've said why it's important. How do we make it effective then? Take time to think before speaking. So just like we said before, if you need to take that step back, do so. Even if you are having to respond in that moment and you're not maybe responding to an email or something like this, so if someone is physically there, whether it's online or in person, take the time to pause before speaking. Don't just say what comes into your head straight away, because it may be the wrong thing. Having that professionalism in the back of your mind constantly will help you to think about that. If you don't know how to answer that complaint, that's okay. Be honest about it and say, actually, I'm not sure how to handle this or something like this. Can I get back to you on that? Thank you so much for letting me know. I need to speak to somebody about this. Be honest about it. You don't have to hide something if you don't know. That's completely okay. Learn to listen. Again, all of us have rung and complained and someone's interrupted us as we're complaining. Is very frustrating. So we need to just wait until the parent or the student or whoever, our manager, whoever it is, has finished. Then we have the whole picture. If we only listen to half of it, we may only hear what's negative, and there could be a lot of positive things to come. Be straightforward. Don't try and overcomplicate. Again, as we said, if you don't know, go and ask, but keep it simple. Be straight with people, but in a kind way. Make sure that you communicate any decisions or plans with those who need to know. So this is where your communication within your company is essential. If you are dealing with an issue that you are very capable of dealing with on your own, that's great. But as we said before, ensure that your managers or whoever needs to know in your team or department do know. They won't necessarily have to come and help you, but they know what's going on, and then let them know any decisions or plans that you're going to implement in that situation. Again, it protects you. It gives you somebody else on there say, okay, yes, I agree with that. Or they may say, have you thought about this? Having that communication keeps that all nice and safe. And deal with unresolved matters. Don't keep putting that complaint to the bottom of the pile. As easy as that is, I know I don't like dealing with any kind of confrontation. I'm not very good at it. But if you leave it again and again and again, actually the complaint will become worse. Whatever it is, if it's feedback you need to work on, it will just nag at you. So actually it's better to put it to the top of the pile and deal with it immediately as soon as you can. So ratings, why are these important? So we have a poll here. Why do ratings and reviews matter?
So why do ratings and reviews matter? It's to improve overall trustworthiness. It gives us insight to what our customers think, helps us meet our customers' needs, and they are just opinions and can't be used for anything. So you can choose as many as you like, whichever you feel is why it's important.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so let's see. We had improved overall trustworthiness, which people chose, which is definitely true. People also said it gives us insight to what our customers think, and it helps us to meet our customer needs. So well done. Yes, that's exactly right. Definitely not. They're just opinions that can't be used for anything. That would definitely be wrong.
They can definitely be used.
Absolutely. We should really welcome them. So most online platforms have the feature for students and parents to rate their lessons and experience. Sometimes it's just by a number of stars. Sometimes it's by a number of stars and specific areas they think you've done well in. Sometimes it's both of those things and a personal comment. This can be an extremely useful function to help with feedback to improve customer service. I personally love looking at the ratings. I find it really, it's really encouraging, because you'll find most of the time your ratings are very good. Parents are very kind. Most parents aren't looking to find fault with you. And if you do ever get one that maybe gives a little bit of feedback, then you can use that to work on. It's very good for your self-esteem, I find. And it's nice because you know that the parents are giving that feedback. They're interested in that. So 4 reasons why ratings and reviews matter. I don't know about you, but sometimes we can get a little bit tired, can't we, of having to give ratings and reviews. I go shopping sometimes and I have to give a review on my groceries. So it's not that. That's not as important. This is really important. Why? Well, reviews improve a company's trustworthiness. So if you were looking on the internet for a particular brand and you saw a company come up, I personally, if it's a company I don't know, I will very often go and look at internet reviews of that company. For example, if it's some new clothes I would like to buy, and it's a clothing line I've never been to, I think, are they trustworthy? And the reviews reveal all, don't they? Well, it's the same. It's the same for us as educators. If they see that reviews of the company are good, they are far more likely to invest if they're in that company. Why? Because reviews prove you have customers for a start. They show that the business is transparent. We're not hiding anything. So if there are bad reviews, or bad's the wrong word to use, if there are maybe reviews that aren't as glowing as others, and your company's putting that out there, that actually encourages trustworthiness, because customers think, okay, they accept that sometimes they have things to work on. And I like that. I sometimes get suspicious of a company that only has 100% reviews. Provides information about your performance. So this is when it's a review for you personally. So that means you can then work on that. What can I work on to improve? Or what went really well? That's working. I'll keep with that. The responses show that there's customer care, and it gives customers a voice, which is really important. We need to show to our customers that this is the right thing to do. Okay, so Rose.
So our second point is customer insights. Now, this can be an extremely useful source of information, especially for any kind of business, but for online teaching especially, this can be great because we are working on a one-to-one basis with our customers and face-to-face, of course, through the screen, but you are working with them live. So let's take a look at customer insights. And this just helps to develop a tailored marketing strategy or strategies. This means that we can change and adapt how we are marketing ourselves, our company, to meet our customers' needs at the end of the day. Our next point is it allows businesses to gain a deeper understanding of how customers feel about your services. So if there might be, like Tammy said, some reviews that come through, some reviews and ratings that might not be as great as others, this is the kind of information that we want. What can we improve on? What can we change? What do we need to change? Why are they unhappy, or why are they saying these things? And then our last point is it helps to meet customers' needs. And at the end of the day, that is what customer service is about. And we want to meet our customers' needs so that we can ensure that they are happy with everything. They have felt listened to. We are taking their opinions and their explanations of what they've been through and their experiences, and we are using that to tailor our services to meet their needs.
Absolutely, even those tricky customers.
Yeah.
Because we do have some of those. And what about point 3, Rose?
So our next point is that it improves personalization. Now, what does this mean? This just means, again, tailoring our services, our resources, our products to meet our customers' needs. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are paying for it. So they are our business, and we want to make it as much about them as we can. So let's have a look. Why is this important? Well, it helps to meet customers' needs again. This is all about our customers and what they want. It allows businesses to promote services and products customers really want. It's no good promoting what you think they want when there is actually I can't think of the word, a way for them to tell you what they want. And that is a great source of information to use and to make sure you are selling products and services that your customers want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then our third point is that it helps to create an experience that encourages the customers to take action and come back again. This is a great point for online teaching because, again, it's a choice whether they want to do it or not. It's not compulsory. And we want to provide that, that personalized customer service to encourage them to come back again and take action to possibly, try our resources that we might be selling or that you sell if you are an independent teacher. And it just helps to encourage that customer to, fully be involved in the business.
It's almost like having a fitted suit.
Yeah.
So it's tailored to your needs, so it fits beautifully. We can all buy a suit at a shopping place, but if it's tailored to you, it fits just you, doesn't it? Just right.
Yeah.
And it's the same, if we listen to what our customers really want, what products they want, we can tailor it according to their needs. We never want to treat students or teachers, other teachers or parents, as simply numbers. People,
Yes,
it's not about numbers, it's about quality and about personalization.
yes. And I don't know about you, but when I feel valued or
Yes.
have experienced really good customer service, I tend to go back time after time after time, because that's just natural.
This is a very simple example, and not to do with teaching, but I recently ordered a tailor-made blind for my bathroom, and when we ordered the samples, it came with a free bag of sweets. Now that seems really silly, but me and my housemate were very excited about this free bag of sweets, and because it was partly that and that personal touch that we chose to order with that company. So I know that's nothing to do with education, but it's the principle. It's those little personal touches that make you want to come back. And again, we're not just doing it so that we make money and that our company is really successful. Of course those things are really important. That has to be important, but it should be that we want to meet our customers' needs. We want to make them happy. We want for them to enjoy.
And I think I think we need to remember to also see this part of teaching as a business side of things, because as much as, you know, in the teaching profession, you don't really think of it as a business. It is at the end of the day. So you have to have that kind of vision too. Yeah, it is. It's a business that we don't treat people business-like. Yes. We have that personal touch. So number 4, trusted source of information. So let's have a look at why this is important, because insight comes straight from the customer. So other customers will trust other customers. And we as a company are making our improvements based on genuine thoughts from our customers, not just what we as a company may feel, which could be very different from what our customers are experiencing, because we are experiencing it in a completely different way to how our customers are experiencing it. So a manner of communication between businesses and their customers is also really important, that professionalism. And we can gain information about your services from people who are actually using them. So, for example, I may go on Amazon or other companies like this to buy a product, and I will always look at the review to see, particularly if it's a product I'm not sure about, to see, does this suit me? Is this any good? And from people who've taken real pictures and have actually used them. So when other people see feedback and ratings and reviews, customers see that, they see it from real people, real reviews, then they get a real insight and a trusted source of information, and they are far more likely to then choose you or your company. So how can customer service improve student retention? What on earth has this got to do with student retention? Well, because it can improve the student and parents' overall experience. So they're more engaged, they're happy to come to lesson, they're happy to come to school, they're in a better mindset. Students and parents will feel listened to. So if a parent has made a complaint about a teacher that their child has made, and that complaint is dealt with and everything is sorted, then the parent is much more likely to encourage their child to be a good student and to listen to their teacher. That complaint was sorted, that's okay. And the students feel, yes, I can talk to Mr. So-and-so or my online English teacher. They always listen to me when I say I didn't understand something or something like this. They're more open. They have a better mindset. And of course, they'll feel valued. Just like Rose said, we never want to feel undervalued. We never want our students to feel that way either. It creates a sense of respect. And feedback personalizes that learning experience like we were talking about, tailoring it to each of our students. And it also encourages communication. If you want to grow, you have to know what your customers think. If you're not prepared to take that on, if you're not prepared as a teacher to listen to some stinging feedback at times that you may see as stinging, but something that you need to work on, then you as a teacher, unfortunately, we will be stuck. We won't grow, and that we would never want that.
So just the very last part of our webinar. If anybody has any questions, we've covered an awful lot of information today, but if anybody does have any questions, then please let us know.
We have one question, which is, what do you do when a parent complains in a lesson? So I'm assuming this is an online lesson, it's live, and a parent pops on the screen and complains.
Okay.
What do you do?
Really good. So that first thing is to stay calm. Think before you speak. Listen to their complaint. If there's a bit of a language barrier, be sure that you're listening to what they're saying. So I always say, I have not actually to deal with this too much personally, but something I would say would be, so do you mean this? Because if we're teaching English, very likely the parent may not have really fluent English. They may have, but if they don't, double check that what the complaint is. If I can deal with it in a lesson, for example, they may say, I don't want you to use props. And which I know sounds strange, but actually that is a request you can sometimes get, things like this. Then, okay, then you can deal with it there and then. Otherwise, it's something that I would say, oh, thank you for letting me know. I'm sorry that you feel that way, acknowledging it. Can I get back to you? If I can't deal with it in the lesson, be honest, say, oh, I can't answer that now. Is it okay if I check with my manager and I come back to you, please? What about you, Rose?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would, first and foremost, I would say know your company's policy if you are working for them, because 9 times out of 10, they will have procedures in place to help you deal with that kind of situation. So I would say that's very important. If you're unsure of anything, ask questions, you know, approach your manager or your senior and ask them questions. If this had to happen, what do I do? Just so that you are professional and you're not breaching any sort of rules or you know, anything like that, just to protect yourself at the end of the day. And then, like Tammy said, just be calm and handle it as best you can. You know, be professional and do what you can in that situation.
Yeah. And oh, something came to me and I forgot what I was going to say. Don't make promises something you can't do, and record anything. Make sure you document anything as well, knowing your company's policy. Okay, so we'll just finish with this quote here. So how you think about your customer influences how you respond to them. So your customer, whether they are a very difficult customer or whether they're a customer with very valid complaints, view them all the same, that you want them to be happy, to be satisfied, and to come back. All of those things are important, that every customer is just as important as the customer that is your favorite. Everyone is just as important. So thank you so much for coming to our webinar today, or if you're watching it on one of our channels, then that's fantastic. We hope you enjoyed it. Just a quick reminder that you are very welcome to go to our brand new IQ TEFL course. Brand new, isn't it? It's been launched recently. We have a flash sale at the minute and it's a ridiculously good price. It really is. And it's a fantastic course.
Yeah.
Also our CPD courses, which are available. There's a huge variety on there. I was looking just the other day and there's just almost like an endless list of different courses that you can sign up. And for our weekly webinars and weekly YouTube videos and other things that are being posted daily, there is a huge amount of resources right at your fingertips, all of which are free. So please click subscribe or check out our channels. We've got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and we're sure you'd find something there to interest you. If you do have any comments, please leave them in the comments box. We would love to hear from you, and we are looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you, Rose, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.